14 period practice. It was mainly Washington State, more prep than it was anything, and I thought it was a solid practice. Obviously, you already know, but we named Nick Marshall our starting quarterback yesterday, and really there was a couple factors that led into it. It was a close battle, but the bottom line is when Nick knew what to do, he outperformed the others, the things that he felt comfortable with. We really feel like he'll have a chance to improve and get better. You know, each practice, each game. He didn't have the luxury going to the spring, and but what he knows extremely well, and has a lot of playmaking ability. With that, Jonathan Wallace also, you know, we felt like had a really good camp, and he will be the next guy in if something were to happen to Nick. And, we have a lot of confidence in him, and his teammates do too. He understands the offense, and you know, he understands the complete playbook. Jeremy Johnson is a close, I'm not going to say 3, maybe a 2A. He also really impressed us. He's got a lot of physical tools. He you know, understands how to run a fast-paced offense because he did it in high school, and really impressed us and did a solid job.
Questions?
And it just comes with Jeremy, is it just a matter of wanting to try and redshirt him, that kind of factor?
Well, right now, you know, obviously, if you know, at this point, it wouldn't be a bad thing if he redshirts. That means the other guy stayed healthy. But you know, we're still bringing him along. I mean, he's going to get reps in practice, and he's going to understand what happens. And, you know, like I said, he made it interesting, and it's very hard to do for a true freshman to make it interesting. But that says a lot about him.
Gus, just how was today's practice with Nick being the starter? And
you know, it felt different. It really did, from the standpoint he was a lot more vocal, and you know, I think his teammates really responded to him, and that's natural. That usually happens, and it's always good to see how you know, a guy responds once you give him the keys to the car and see how he responds. But I really felt like he went out there and he was encouraging, you know, and it was good to see.
Some of his past coaches have said that he's got a real aptitude for picking stuff up. Is that something kind of played into the decision?
You know, I think so. I mean, what we have asked him to do is extremely challenging. You know, just the communication to the sideline, our installs. You know, when you're going through camp, you're installing at a pace for your whole team, not just for your quarterback. And when you're putting in 4 and 5 new plays each practice, and it adds up, it says a lot if guys can handle that. And kind of like I said, the bottom line, it came down to the stuff that Nick felt comfortable doing, and he understood the sideline and the protect and everything that goes with it. That's when he was at his best. So from a coach's standpoint, that just, you know, told us that, hey, the more he gets comfortable, the better he'll get. And so that's encouraging. And you've heard me say before, our goal this year is to get better each practice and each game. And we feel like Nick will be a part of that.
You've mentioned that, you know, you've had a lot of quarterbacks, different type of guys, but I mean, Nick seems a little bit different. He seems to be, he's obviously smaller, faster. You want to build to his strengths. What are his strengths? We're going to see him, a guy that's utilized a little bit more on the run?
Yeah, you know, I tell you what, we're always going to play to our quarterback strengths. But he's very unique. There's no doubt. He's a phenomenal athlete. You know, one of the better athletes I've probably got a chance to coach at the quarterback position. He's got a very strong arm, and he's very calm. The day that we went live, I mean, they were flying around him, and I was right there back there with him, and he seemed like it was you know, 7-on-7 mode, and that really thought a lot. You know, I thought a lot about that, and I had something to do with it too.
Gus, you said once he knew what was going on, when did the light bulb go off for him?
Well, you know, I think each practice you'd see him improve, but the things that he felt comfortable with, and it was natural progression and everything, and he didn't have to think. I mean, he just could react. That's when he was at his best. And so what we'll do this first game, I mean, we're going to take the plays in that he feels comfortable with, and we're starting to learn more about what that is. And this week, that'll have a lot to do with it. But the good thing is, each week, he's going to get more and more comfortable. And like I said, all the other quarterbacks I've ever had, really but one, had a chance to go through spring. You know, Cam had a chance to go through spring, and if I was judging Cam at this same point, I'd probably feel the same way.
You said that, was it like week 2 when it clicked for him, week 3?
I think it was I don't think it was one time. I just think there were certain plays that he felt more comfortable with, and it's probably a past history of certain concepts and things that go with that. And But to answer your question, as far as feeling comfortable with the communication, yeah, it was probably in the second week he finally started understanding where he could communicate and think through. Because half the battle in our system is getting everything right before the play starts. And once you do that, then you start looking at what the defense is giving you, and you worry about the progression. So there's a lot to it. We ask a lot of our quarterback, probably as much or more than anybody in the country.
I guess you said what he feels comfortable with, so then for the first game, if you had to estimate how limited your playbook and play calling is going to have to be by comparison to what you want it to be, how limited is it?
You know what, we don't have the answer to that yet. This week, we're going to throw quite a bit out there, and we'll see what he feels comfortable with. And, we've always done that, especially early on with a new starter. I think early on, you've got to make the quarterback feel comfortable, and it's got to be something that he is confident doing. And you try your best not to put him in a bind and ask him to do things he's not comfortable with. So this week will be part of that, and obviously by this time next week, we'll have a real good idea about that.
I've heard you joke before that it took you a few weeks to figure out Cam's strengths and all that. Do you feel that you've got a pretty good grasp of what Nick can do at this point in camp?
Yeah, the difference is we never went live with Cam, but there was a lot of things. I mean, if you'd have watched Cam 2.5 weeks in the spring practice, I mean, in all fairness, you wouldn't think you didn't know for sure he's going to be the quarterback. I mean, everything wasn't perfect. But we do understand what Nick, I think, can do. We think that he's got a lot of more upside, that he'll get better and more comfortable with everything. But like I said, he's got some ability to make plays when things break down. And y'all already know this, but in this league, things are going to break down from time to time, and that has something to do with it too.
You guys talk about Jonathan. Has he improved since the end of spring practice?
I believe so. I believe he has. He fought hard. The thing about Jonathan, he's a great competitor now, and he is one of the more class, high-character young men on our team, and his teammates really respect him. And he fought hard. It was hard to tell him he wasn't going to be the starter. I'll tell you that. He's a class young man. He handled it like a champ. I know. He's probably hurting, but you wouldn't know that. He's very supportive of Nick, and that helps our team.
He's a guy that his teammates talk about as being, a study guy that they respect a lot. How much does it lend itself to being a solid backup guy when you have a guy like that?
Oh, it's a great luxury to go in the first game with a guy that we have confidence that if he goes in the game, we know he's going to be able to get everything right, execute, and all that. So. I think we're in really good shape right now, quarterback-wise, going into the season. Like I said, Jeremy Johnson, if he keeps improving, he could be ready also. So we got three guys that we feel very good about.
Is Jeremy going to be the work scout team, or is he going to?
Who's that?
Jeremy.
No, he'll be with us. He'll be with us every practice, and he'll get some reps. I mean, like I said, we're gonna. I mean, one guy goes down, then you're one play away, and so we're gonna keep him ready.
Will he go on the road and dress out with you guys?
Yes.
I mean, you talked about, Nick, when he got here, felt like he had something else to prove, getting a second chance in the SEC after leaving Georgia. Did you sense that when he came in, that he really had something to prove here?
Yeah, and I sensed that when we recruited him too. That he definitely, had something to prove, and he's had that attitude since he's been here. And he's really studied hard. He's worked hard. He's been in that playbook. He showed Coach Lashley that it's very important to him, and he showed his teammates too, and that's the most important thing. He's got a lot of respect from his teammates, and they have a lot of confidence in him.
I guess there's about 9 practices left until the season begins. What's kind of the plan between balancing that expansion of the playbook with Nick and preparing for Washington State?
Yeah, that is the strategy right now. It's just this week, we've got the majority of our playing in, and it's just a matter of putting him in different situations, different looks, what his comfort zone is, and at the end of this week, really deciding on the plays we're going to go with.
You said this was the #1 priority for you at fall camp. Now that it's been decided on, what's the new #1 priority?
It's really to get our overall team ready to play. We just about have all the pieces in place as far as our personnel is concerned. There's still a couple little things that either could change or we still have some things open. But for the most part, we have our answers to our questions going this season. And now it's just a matter of getting to that first game, and we'll see how our guys respond.
Guys, you also dismissed Demetrius yesterday. What went into the decision-making process on that, and what are your thoughts on safety going forward?
Well, I'll say this, and, you know, he got dismissed for team rules, violation of team rules. Wish him nothing but the best. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is.